And we are live. Well, hello everyone. Alejandro Tornato here, coming directly from Beaufort, Georgia. And it gives me tremendous pleasure, to be connecting with all of you once again for another edition of Alejandro Bob Unplugged. And let me just bring my friend and colleague Bob DiGiacomo into the picture. And here he is. How are you doing, Bob, today?
Hey,
Happy Friday to you.
happy Friday to all. Happy Friday to all. Hey, I've got a couple of questions for you. I would be remiss as a high C if I didn't have a few questions to ask. But don't answer until I've asked all the questions. Is it instinctive or is it by choice that you start each and every one of these broadcasts with, and we're live? So that is it instinctive or is it by choice? But don't answer that yet.
Okay.
And secondly, I don't know if it's instinctive or by choice, but did you know that there are currently two potential tropical storms, maybe hurricanes, that are going to be going into the Gulf of Mexico at the same time? Now, is that happening instinctively or is it happening by choice? Now, my last question is, have you seen my purple cow? I've been looking all over for my purple cow. I don't know what his instincts are doing right now, but I can't seem to find him anywhere. Now, I'll yield to you.
So you asked me three questions. Okay. Now, what was the first question?
I said,
my instincts are not do not seem to be working very sharply today. So I have to. But listen, today. Well, first of all, before I get into those questions, and before we get into the topic that we're going to be discussing today, I want to first say hi and to greet my another dear friend, Mr. Chuck Parker. And Chuck, greetings to you, my friend. Chuck is joining us directly from Edmonton, Canada. So I tell you, Bob, we are expanding the horizons and the barriers with Alejandro Bob Unplugged. We are making an impact. We are influencing Canadians. Can you imagine?
I find that hard to believe that we can influence any. And did we go through passport control to get over the border?
No. We don't need. Listen, we have a special relationship with Canada, so we are just by the power of our unpluggedness. We are.
Okay. So that's a choice.
Canada.
That's a choice we didn't have to make today.
That's exactly right.
What are we talking about today?
Well, today we are talking about instinct versus choice. Instinct versus choice. Now, I know that when we talk about instinct, the first thing that comes to mind is the animal kingdom, because animals operate.
Let me say hello to Chuck. You didn't give me a chance to say hello to Chuck.
Oh, okay.
I can't see him, and I don't know if he can see me, but I can't see him. But good day, sir.
So when we talk about instinct, then we talk about the animal kingdom, because animals, they operate under that paradigm. The instinctive paradigm. They operate, they live, they walk about with instinct. Now, we human beings, we are also animals, but we are a little bit higher in the scale of animals versus humans. We're still animals. And I tell you, Bob, I'm going to say something that I would say, just because we are unplugged, we are definitely not politically correct. And when we talk about animals versus human beings, and sometimes the operation between instincts and choice, there are some people, some human beings right now roaming the world, especially the US, who are acting more as animals instinctively than human beings. So tell me, is there a real radical difference
Are they
between instinct
are they
and
acting
choice?
more like animals instinctively, or are they acting more like animals with by choice?
Well, that's a good question to ask. I mean, so why don't you shed some light into that, please?
Okay, I'm definitely going to shed some light because it's been said that man is a political animal.
Oh my goodness, a political
That's
animal,
a that's a
not just.
that's a famous quote. I did not make that one up. I'd like to take credit for that one, but I did not make that. Of course, if I say it two more times, then I can own it. So I've heard. But in the animal kingdom, and I was thinking about this when we were talking about today's topic. Cows have instinct. They're designed to eat grass or whatever's put in front of them and make milk every day.
Mhm.
And then the cows, the females, of course, because I haven't seen too many bulls have babies. But the cows then bring about other cows, and the cycle continues. And yet, there's this problem going on out there, and that's why I didn't want to bring politics into this. That they want to cut down on the number of cows out there by choice, because supposedly they make this methane gas that comes out the back. Um, go figure on that one. But then I was taking it to another step. Water buffaloes are designed to be buffaloes, and they're always looking for water. And then we've got the lions and the tigers. I'll leave the bears out, oh my, for a second. But the lions and the tigers, instinctively, they're designed to hunt, to keep the population down of the other animals that are out there. I don't know that they think. They do things by instinct. And so they hunt and they make more lions, and tigers make more tigers. But where I'm going with this is that somebody in the animal kingdom of each of those breeds, even cows, have leaders. Or is it that they're just followers by instinct? Back to you.
Yeah. Well, let me share with you something. I mean, in my bag here, I don't know if you can see, it says, follow your heart, it knows the way. Now, follow your heart. I mean, there are some people, when you talk to them, it says, I have a gut feeling to do this thing or to meet this person or to whatever it is, but it's a gut feeling. Now, when we have a gut feeling to do something or when we follow our heart, now we are not operating by choice when we are in that process. We are definitely letting our instincts rule the day. Now, is it? Let me ask this question. I mean, I know there is a difference between animals and humans, but now when we talk about humans,
Most of the time, anyway.
yes, is it better to constantly act by choice, or is there a benefit sometimes to let our instincts rule and see where those instincts take us? I mean, what is your take on that?
We've always been given freedom of choice, although no one has come out and said, like, when we're newborns and we're growing up, age 1, age 2, age 3, we we do things instinctively, Like we'll get up and try to start to walk, but then we have choices, and as youngsters, we test out the ground as we're going to see how much we can and can get away with. And our parental units give us a certain latitude of choice as to whether they're going to allow us to continue or they're going to put a stop to it. Now, as that young toddler, we're thinking by choice, okay, I got away with that. Let me push the envelope a little further and further and further. And maybe that's why we have some things going on out there today that you were alluding to, animals of choice and instinct. But it occurred to me just as you were mentioning all of that, when man gets involved in the animal kingdom, he has this knack for wanting to train the animals of the animal kingdom. We corral horses or we corral cows, and we train them. We work with dogs. Some people work with wolves, but everybody can be trained through choice and repetition. Of course, I'm very good at training cats. Believe it or not, most people would say, how could you train a cat? Cats can't be trained. They just do what they want. By instinct, they do a lot of things that they want. But there are some choices that they have to make, especially if they want me to feed them or what have you.
Yeah.
And when we get in a few minutes more, I've got this great story I want to tell. So what are your thoughts about when man gets involved in the animal kingdom? Were we designed to do that, or is
Well,
that evolution?
well, I can tell you one thing. I mean, there's one thing that comes to my mind right now, and I don't know whether it ties directly to what we are talking, but I'm going to share it anyhow.
That's a
If you,
choice.
yeah, if you have been following, and not right now, but some time ago, you know that in Brazil, down in South America, there is this magnificent jungle and forest. I mean, the Amazons, with a lot of people, including myself, we truly believe that it is like a lung. I mean, it's a great breathing. I mean, it's just it makes the world such a better place. I mean, from all different angles. And yet, can you imagine that animals that live in the Amazon, whether it be spiders, snakes, I mean, any kind of animals, I mean, even dangerous animals, you know, no single animal would ever think of destroying that habitat. And yet, when it comes to humanity, when it comes to humans that tend to be, or I mean, would seem to be much higher in our awareness of what the world is all about, and we have better brains and thinking minds, and yet it's the humans that want to go and destroy that place.
Now, funny.
I mean, isn't that amazing? I mean, I cannot even believe, if you let humans do whatever they want to do, humans destroy the world. Animals don't.
Now, be careful, because somebody watching this may say, I need to go out and turn off all the humans. Okay. Well, hey, we're living in some crazy times out there. But interestingly enough that you say that, you bring up that point, because I heard this last night. And one of the platforms, we're not trying to be political here, but one of the platforms of a certain group of people in the United States wants, they've got this Green New Deal program that they're trying to implement. And one of the
Yes.
things they want to do besides turning the cows off, I don't know how you turn off the cows so that they don't make any methane gas, short of getting rid of all the meat. But one of the things that was said last night is they want to cut down on carbon dioxide emissions. Now, clearly, they obviously did not attend science class when they were supposed to be in science. I don't know what they teach in school anymore. I know when I went to school, we were taught that carbon dioxide is very important because plants use carbon dioxide as part of the photosynthesis process, and the byproduct that's let off is oxygen. Evolutionary cycle. So I think maybe the answer is not that we need to cut down on carbon dioxide emissions. We need to ensure that we're reforesting and taking care of the plant life, flora and fauna, so that photosynthesis, I mean, this is what I learned in science. I realize I've been around for 2 centuries, and I don't think too much has changed, though, in thousands of years when it comes to photosynthesis.
No, I think that science back then is the same as science today. I mean, the basic principles still operate. I mean, gravity was the same 2,000 years ago, and it is the same today. I mean, if you want to test it, go to the top of a high building and then drop and see what the results are.
And the periodic table is still the same. If anything, we add to it, we don't take away from it.
The periodic tables. Well, as a matter of fact, I have to correct you on that. The periodic table is the same, and it's not the same because since years ago, there have been more elements that were discovered and added to the table. So
Yes.
the
So
table.
I said it's the same, but it grows.
That's right. I think that the periodic table is in a constant state of evolution. I mean, it's still evolving. But I tell you, oxygen has the same place years ago as it has today. And I mean, the gases, the halogens are in the same place, and so the table is the same. But I can tell you that now. Let me ask you this: do you think that as we keep moving in life, do you think that are we going to be switching more from instinct to choice, or from choice to instinct, or where is the balance going to be leaning more?
Well, I think this is a perfect spot for me to tell the story, because at the end, you're going to answer that question based on the story. And so I start, and don't look for a punchline in this story, because there's not a punchline, but there is definitely an answer. So at a fundraising dinner for a school that serves children with learning disabilities, the father of one of the students delivered a speech that would never be forgotten by all who had attended. And after extolling the school and its dedicated staff, he offered a question. When not interfered with by outside influences, everything nature does is done with perfection. Yet my son, Shay, the man's son's name was Shay, cannot learn things as other children do. He cannot understand things as other children do. So where is the natural order of things in my son, he asked. And the audience was sort of stilled by this. They were thinking. So then the father continued, I believe that when a child like Shay, who is mentally and physically disabled comes into the world, an opportunity to realize true human nature presents itself, and it comes in the way other people treat that child. So here's the story that goes with that, as told by the father. Shay and I had walked past a park where some boys Shay knew were playing baseball. And Shay asked, "Do you think they'll let me play?" Now, I knew that most of the boys would not want someone like Shay on their team, but as a father, I also understood that if my son were allowed to play, it would give him a much needed sense of belonging and some confidence to be accepted by others in spite of his handicaps. I know we don't use the word handicaps anymore today, but it's a story. So the father approached one of the boys on the field and asked, not expecting much, if Shay could play. And the boy looked around for guidance and said, "Well, we're losing by 6 runs and the game is in the 8th inning. I guess he can be on our team. We'll try to put him into bat in the 9th inning." So basically the kid was saying, look, it looks like we're about to lose this game. So what the heck? We'll let him in. So Shay struggled over to the team's bench, and with a broad smile, he put on a team shirt, and the father watched with a small tear in his eye and some warmth in his heart. The boys saw my joy at my son being accepted, the father said. In the bottom of the 8th inning, Shay's team scored a few runs, but was still behind by a couple of runs. Now, in the top of the 9th inning, I hope everybody knows about baseball. In the top of the 9th inning, Shay put on a glove, and they put him out in right field. Now, even though no hits came his way, he was so ecstatic just to be in the game and on the field, and he was grinning from ear to ear, and the father waved to him from the stands. I mean, this was a classic moment here. Now, in the bottom of the 9th inning, Shay's team scored again, and they now had 2 outs, classic, 2 outs, bases loaded. The potential winning runs were on base, and Shay was scheduled to bat next. So at this juncture, do they let Shay bat and give away their chance to win the game? Surprisingly, Shay was given the bat. Now, everyone knew that a hit was all but impossible because Shay didn't even know how to hold the bat properly, much less connect with the ball. But as Shay stepped up to the plate, the pitcher, recognizing that the other team was putting winning aside for this moment in Shay's life, he moved in a few steps and lobbed the ball softly so that Shay could at least make contact. Now, the first pitch came in, and Shay swung clumsily, and he missed. Well, lo and behold, the pitcher took a few more steps in and tossed the ball softly to Shay. And as the pitch came in, Shay swung at the ball and hit a slow ground ball back to the pitcher. Now, as you would imagine with instinct, the game would now be over because the pitcher all he had to do was pick up the ball and easily throw it to first base, and the game would be over. And Shay would have been out, and that would have been the end of the game. But instead, the pitcher threw the ball right over the first baseman's head, out of reach of all the teammates. Now, everyone in the stands started yelling and screaming, "Run, Shay, run," almost like Forrest, right? "Run, Shay, run. Run to first." Now, never in his life had Shay ever run that far, but he made it to first base. And he scampered down the baseline wide-eyed and startled, and everyone yelled, "Run to second, run to second." And catching his breath, Shay awkwardly starts running towards second, gleaming and struggling to make it to the base. And by the time Shay rounded towards second base, the right fielder had the ball, the smallest guy on the team, who now had his chance to be the hero for the team. He could have easily thrown Shay out at second base, with the tag play, but he understood the pitcher's intention. So he, too, intentionally threw the ball far over the third baseman's head. Shay ran toward third base deliriously as the runners ahead of him circled bases running home. Everybody was screaming, "Shay, Shay, Shay, all the way, Shay." And Shay reached third base, and because the opposing shortstop ran to help him by turning him in the direction, so he rounds third, and he's now running towards home, and the spectators are on their feet screaming, Shea, run home. Shea ran to home, stepped on the plate, and was cheered as the hero who had hit a grand slam and won the game for his team. Now, that day, the father softly, with tears rolling down his face, the boys from both teams had helped bring a piece of true love and humanity into Shea's world. Shea didn't make it to another summer. He actually died that winter, having never forgotten being the hero that day. Now, we all send thousands of jokes through email without a second thought, and when it comes to sending messages about life choices, people hesitate, and we get crude, we get vulgar. Sometimes obscenities pass freely through cyberspace. So, it's a story like this that I'm more inclined to want to forward to others, because we have thousands of opportunities every single day to realize the natural order of things. Instinct, choice. So many trivial interactions between two people present us with a choice. Do we pass on a little bit of humanity and love, or do we pass up those opportunities? So a wise man, as I conclude the story, and I'm going to ask you a question, once said that every society is judged by how it treats its least fortunate among them. The day that these guys played this ball game, instinct naturally kicks in and you want to win the game. But then they made a choice to forego that instinct. Or was it an evolution of instinct that something was kicking in? I'm going to let you pick up and
I think, Bob, well, first of all, that's a great story. And that illustrates one thing. It illustrates that there are people who, under those circumstances, under that situation, they think more about what they can do to make another person's life better. And that is, as a matter of fact, that is taking advantage of the choices that we have and making the right choices at the right time. And that's what they decided to do. So in the end, we have to ask the question, what is it better? Is it better to win a game and to say, hey, what's in it for me? For me, I am the one in the equation. What do I want to gain for me? And of course, if it's for me, I want to win the game. I want to get the gig. I want to win the project. I want to win the proposal. Whatever it, I want to get the job. Whatever it may be. But then our humanity comes forth and it says, yes, that's what I want, but in this kind of a situation, what is it better? Is it better to be thinking about me, or is it better to be thinking about others? And that's when the choice has to be made. And some people, they make a choice. Some others, they make perhaps the best choice in a situation. And that's what this group of teenagers did. They forgo about their benefits for themselves, and they put all their attention to what we can do in order to make this other boy, who of course, I mean, you can see that from an athletic standpoint, it was not up to the other ones. I mean, who had a disability and who could not perhaps run or perform to the best of everybody else's abilities, but they wanted to make a difference. They wanted to make an impact, and that's what they chose to do. And that was a great example for everybody else. That when we are in that kind of a similar situation, then what are we going to choose? Are we going to choose something for us, or are we going to choose something that goes beyond ourselves?
And let me tie that in with the fact that in the animal kingdom, instinct always kicks in. If that tiger is determined that he's going to chase that other animal down for dinner, he doesn't make a choice. Well, I'll let him go today. No, he's going to run that animal down.
That's right.
With us, this is where intentional servant leadership kicks in. But I want to leave you with this point. I talked about a bunch of kids playing baseball. There was no mention whether they were goody two-shoe kids from some upper class establishment or they were a bunch of bully boys from around the block. There were some kids playing baseball, and regardless of where they were in life, they made a choice to make a difference.
That's exactly right. Because I think, I truly believe that, contrary to popular beliefs, even now, the heart of human beings is by nature, I truly believe, is toward helping and toward making this world a better place. And I think that what's happened is the fact that when we associate with people who think differently and who think much lower in the awareness scale, we tend to behave more like the animal kingdom and act on instinct as opposed to act by the choice that we have and the choice that we can make. So, as a matter of fact, I think that this is a topic for another session. But it's tell me who you associate most of the time with, and I'm pretty much sure that I can tell you who you are and who you are becoming.
So it's been great being unplugged with you today.
Yes, indeed, and yes, we are coming to the end of the broadcast. And do you have it before? I mean, quickly before we leave the unplugged kingdom today. Do you have any call to action? Any final words?
Yeah, my call to action, and for some people this is tough, but my call to action is, I'm going to use a phrase that I use often, even though some people look at me a little strange sometimes. But this is a great line to use with people, and it's very simple. How may I serve you today? How may I serve you today?
That's right. And it shows the heart of a true leader and a true servant. Okay, is not what's in it for me, is what can I do, how can I serve, what can I provide others with. And that is a great attitude to have. So thank you so very much, Bob. Thank you, Chuck, and thank you others who have joined us and watch this broadcast. And as I always remind you to live every moment, be resilient, and also be kind, be passionate, and remember that we were not created or designed with any kinds of limitations. So I encourage you, whatever you are, to live your life to the fullest of your potential and capabilities, and make every single day a limitless experience, and be intentional.
And hey, if people want to go and hear some more of Alejandro and Bob Unplugged, they just need to go to iTunes or the
Yeah.
podcast app that iTunes uses now, and just simply type in Alejandro and ampersand Bob Unplugged, and you can subscribe and you can take us with you.
That's exactly right. And if you resonate with the messages that we put out there, please share that with other people. Share it on your own social media platforms, and leave us a review and a rating, because that would help us elevate the exposure of the show. So, Bob and everybody else, thank you so very much. Have a fabulous weekend, revitalized and re-energized, and keep making this world a better place. All the best.
Absolutely.
Be
All the
well.
best, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye bye.